Podcast. I am here today with my friend Brandon Rodriguez with Spartan Martial Arts in Nashville. We actually met at a networking event, which is why I always tell people networking events are so important. That's how you broaden your horizons and you get on other people's stages that way, and you get to actually meet and authenticate friendships that way and kind of tell about your business and why that's important. So I know, Brandon, you agree with that. I know you, with being a business owner, networking is very, very important as well. I'm out here, excuse the sun, but don't excuse the sun. I'm glad it's sunny. I'm out here at Common John Brewing Company in Manchester. I just finished up an interview with one of my good friends talking about what we do, and I'm going to be interviewing you, Brandon, and talk about what you do. So thank you everyone for joining. Brandon, I'm going to let you go ahead and have the mic and kind of introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Brandon Rodriguez. Thank you for having me on today. Um, Really, I didn't always want to run a martial arts school. I mean, I know that I always wanted to own my own business, but I never knew what it was that I wanted to do. And some background, went to Auburn University. I was there at first for aerospace engineering because I wanted to be an officer in the Air Force. Um, and then started the program. Summer of 2020 came around, and because of COVID, they would only take half of the cadets that they normally would.
Oh my goodness.
And I just didn't make that cut, so I just got dropped from the program. And then I was kind of thinking, well, now what do I do? That's really the whole reason I was there. But then I was thinking that my plan was after retiring from military, I wanted to start my own business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just start it now and skip that part? Uh, but then that was the other obstacle of, what is it that I'm going to do? So there was some things here and there that I was thinking about doing and um, was planning for it. But then my last year of college, uh, it was just kind of, and my parents were in town that weekend, and my dad would just keep on talking about the new organization that he was a part of with his martial arts school in Alabama, and just how much happier he was in it, and how um, they're really just like a family type organization where the previous one was very corporate-y in a way. So my dad being a smaller school, they wouldn't give him any attention at all or support
Mm-hmm.
unless he paid a lot of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but with this one, he's one of the smallest schools in that organization, but he's a part of so many councils, um, especially the Integrity Council because of his military background. Um, and they really just value his input, and he would go to all these different tournaments in all these different states, and just be absolutely welcome there, and even welcome into their homes, the people that were hosting those tournaments, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, I started Taekwondo when I was 3,
Uh-huh.
because he was the instructor. Um, but high school started, and that's when I wanted to play soccer instead. And so I played soccer all 4 years. And then in college, I didn't do either. And yeah, that last year is when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start my own school, just get back into training with it, just knock all the rust off.
You, that's
Really.
awesome. Yeah, that is awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I was just
So
gonna
yeah,
say, you took something that you had a plan, you had a mission that you were gonna do. You thought you had it figured out, right? And then life threw you a curveball.
right.
And what I love about this podcast is hearing, I almost spit everywhere, is hearing. I don't like that to happen to people, but I love how people handle adversity when it comes that way, right? So you could have been like, this was my dream, this was my goal. Now it's ruined. Now what am I going to do? Well, instead of just quitting, you were like, you know what? I really like this. This is what I'm going to do. And it's going to take some guts. And I've got some leadership from my dad and family that are going to support me. And I'm going to stick to it. So not only did you get back in something that you started when you were in high school that you liked, that kind of soccer took precedent over it for a little bit, but
Mhm.
you're able to give back to the community. You're able to help people. You're able to be a business owner. So things sometimes I tell people what we think that we have figured out for us may not be the plan that we're supposed to do. It's what we do with the curveball when we figure out that that plan that we thought was going to be our plan is not going to be our plan. So you just took something and
Right.
made something great with it. Continue. I just wanted to just kind of reiterate to our listeners how important that was, what a big move that was for you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because now I do fully believe that this is what I was meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like also just a whole lot happier doing this than I would have been with my original plan in the first place.
Good for you.
Um, and the best part of it is the students, especially the younger ones, when you can see their face light up when they do something right after they've been struggling with it for a little bit, and then just kind of showing that patience, that teaching patience with them, and just not giving up on them. And then once they figure it out and they do it right, I make it known,
Right.
and yeah, they just their face lights up. A lot of times they want to run over to their parents, give them a high five or something, and then they come right back and um, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like my favorite students are the ones that have some uh, like confidence issues where they're not really sure of themselves. They're kind of nervous, um, a little bit reserved, and I like that because it reminds me of me. A few years ago, maybe not even that long ago, maybe more recent than that, I would have never imagined being able to do uh, even just teaching a class in front of a bunch of students and having parents watching that, or just getting out there and talking to people, because I've just always been very introverted.
Mm-hmm.
But something just kind of switched, where I was telling myself, you're just giving yourself an excuse to not get out of your comfort zone, or go up to talk to people and be more extroverted. And that's really helped out, especially with networking events. I've never
Right.
done networking or anything like that, so I just kind of just put myself in that situation,
You
forced myself out of that. Mhm.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, like forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone, that kind of stuff. And even for this today, I've never been in a podcast before, so but yeah, a little nervous, but
You're doing.
um,
You're doing. I always tell people, people don't understand when when they hear networking events, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go with my friends," and it's great when you got a friend or a coworker to go with. But that one time that you're going up there by yourself, and you
right,
may know some people, but you may not know some people. That's a gut wrencher, right? Like you have to muster up all your confidence and just kind of go in there and do it. But I'm telling you, those are the best happy hours I've ever been to because I haven't like stayed in my little circle that I was with and I had to get out and talk to more people and get to know people. And I have gotten more business done by going to networking events by myself sometimes and actually being forcing myself at first. Then it comes naturally because these people are not going to bite. They're just probably like you, just like, oh gosh, am I going to know anybody? Am I not going to know anybody?
right.
Getting to know them, I have made some really good friends and really good business relationships that way. I mean, even us at that crawfish bowl that we did for the Mardi Gras thing. I mean, that was really cool because, you kind of, I know when you kind of looked at me like podcast, and I'm like, yeah, podcast. Come on, you want to be on the podcast? Yeah, so that makes sense. And this is your first one, but this is going to be your first of many because I foresee you doing some big things because you have the guts to do it. You're getting out there in the public. You're giving back to the public. You're helping people, like you said, those kids build up their confidence. Let me go back to this really quick. You said that it helps you with your confidence, doing the martial arts and stuff. If you are a parent and you're thinking about enrolling your child in that, what are some benefits that you're going to see, and how early of an age would you start your children in there?
Okay, yeah. So earliest is 4. Sometimes we'll let 3-year-olds try, because maybe they're pretty mature for a 3-year-old, but most of the time it's that 4. Um, And yeah, the main reason, so most of the time parents will sign their kids up for martial arts, not so much to give them an activity to do, but more there's some underlying, I don't want to say issue, but there is some underlying uh, issue of why they're signing them up for that. Because for us with martial arts, the main goal of it is to instill that discipline and confidence, that respect, um, integrity, honesty, all those uh, really good qualities and virtues. But we just use martial arts as the method to teach it. So a lot of times, instead of like for our practices, I guess you can call them more classes than practice, but we're not necessarily there to just get better at martial arts. We're there to get better at being more disciplined and showing more respect, gaining more confidence, um, having that integrity, and really, it's very easy to start that at a very young age,
Okay.
because, and it's a quote by Frederick Douglass, it's easier to make strong kids than it is to fix broken adults.
Mm.
So a lot of times, when there is that confidence issue or a discipline or respect issue, and it's not addressed in their, I guess you can call it their formative years, then they're going to turn into adults with confidence issues or discipline issues, respect issues, and that's especially in the workplace once they start, working for someone that's not mom or dad that might have tolerated that kind of stuff.
That's right.
They're going to have a really hard time adjusting to that. And yeah, just even something as simple as the confidence thing. I mean, and I get it because it is kind of a uh, sometimes it's a scary thing to do, putting yourself out in front of everyone and trying to talk to people, meet new people, um, and yeah, and then with discipline too. If you're not um, keeping yourself accountable for things, like staying on top of your um, deadlines for work, or staying on top of your personal goals, like for working out or reading even, or any of that kind of stuff, because motivation and inspiration can only get you so far. It's discipline that keeps you going even when you don't have that
Yeah.
motivation or inspiration.
I totally agree there. Now, what about adults? I mean, you have some people like, I mean, I obviously miss a 4-year-old Linda. Some people
Mhm.
like me, almost you're going to hit 40 next year, or people that are in college. I mean, is it ever too late to start? I mean, anybody can start, right?
Right, yes, it's never too late. It's never too late to start. There's plenty of people in our organization that are in that 60, um, close to 70 range. Helps you. Um, it really kind of helps you stay young if you want to think about it that way. It keeps
Well,
you
I
keeps
was
you
even
moving and
asked.
active.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, for adults, I teach adult classes a little bit differently. It's not so much focusing on confidence or discipline and all those other virtues. But even though it's something that adults can definitely use, like it's not just for kids. Um, but for them, it is, what's that?
It can help them be in shape, obviously confidence too.
Right.
I mean, if you just said what you just said about like, it's better to it's hard to untrain adults, right? What we've learned in life. So if you can teach these things to children, well, I coach a lot of women and I coach men too. And some things that I see are things that I've developed at childhood that is unhealed trauma and stuff. And if you can channel that into something like martial arts and things like that, because a lot of women that
Right.
I have confidence problems, either from an abusive relationship or just years of neglect, things like that. Some of it's life choices, whatever. But martial arts, you're telling me, could be a good thing for them to even look into themselves to build up their confidence. How does martial arts
Absolutely.
help build up their confidence as well? If you're watching, because there's a lot of people on here that watch that may not understand it. So we're asking the expert right now. So.
Right. So it can help with confidence. even something as simple as just hitting the pads correctly, or doing a proper kick or proper punch or whatever, just something that simple. Where especially if they've been struggling with it for a little bit, and then when they get it right, and you absolutely praise that when they get it right, because it's not praising's not just for kids, it's adults need it too.
Everybody needs to hear it too,
um
you're right. Or and knowing how to
mhm,
defend themselves properly, like especially if they've been in
that
a
too.
victim situation, they can know with confidence that they will no longer be the victim in a situation if that came about in their life again.
Right, exactly. So yeah, the and what I like teaching with that, and this does kind of help with that confidence where they won't feel like they'll ever be a victim, is what we like to say, peaceful, not harmless.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
I like that.
so we're not, it is absolutely for self-defense only, and that goes for kids and adults. Like, no, don't be going around.
Bullying,
Um, yeah,
picking sides. Yeah. Yeah.
which it does help with bullies and stuff too. If
Yeah.
they come in and they are having those kind of issues, it because a lot of times with bullying, there's usually some kind of underlying, not psychological, but normally it's a self-esteem issue, or them doing that makes them feel better about themselves,
Right.
by taking it out on others. But you
Right.
bring them into a martial arts class, they're able to, instead of, uh, I guess, channeling that in a toxic way, like bullying someone or something like that. In the martial arts classes, they can channel it into a little bit more, well, not a little bit, but more positive, in a more
Right.
positive way, to where they no longer have self-esteem issues or anything like that, and they know that, um, basically just end up knowing what their worth is, and they don't have to take it out on other people or anything like that. And with adults, it's the same way. They might feel uh, like they're maybe weak, or they don't feel very strong, or they're just kind of just live in fear even. And I hate if that's the case, because
Yeah.
no one should ever have to live in fear. Um, but yeah, for adults, especially with uh, women nowadays, a lot of really bad people out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
and just, yeah, it's just the times. And a lot of times they might be living in that fear of, even if it's just walking to their car in a parking lot, they might, um, be just really fearful about it, because they might feel that, if something happens, I probably wouldn't be able to defend myself or anything like that. But in in the classes and stuff, even just, practicing our self-defense techniques, where it's not so much the traditional martial arts stuff.
Right.
Um, so, whether hitting the pad, doing whatever, that kind of stuff, and it's very, whenever you hit that pad hard, you know it, and everyone else around you knows it, because it makes that like whack sound. It's
Yeah.
very loud and it echoes even. And that's like an instant, like gratification, I guess you can
Like, I
call it,
can do
of
this. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like I did that. I hit something that hard, or I did this technique right um to get out of someone grabbing onto me, or something like that, or um, just that kind of stuff. So yeah.
All kinds of different things. Well, thank you so much for, shedding some light on that. I mean, like everybody's heard of martial arts, but to really kind of speak to somebody that has been around it their whole life, their family's been involved in it, now having your own, you're teaching obviously your own studio, your own classes that you're doing. How can people find you? Now, where is your, again, tell people where you're located and tell them how they can reach out to you. Because I always like to end with how they can get in contact with you to learn more or maybe do some classes with you as well.
Okay, yeah. So I just tell people that I'm 2 miles away from the zoo.
Okay. Love
Most
the
people
soup.
know where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual address is 2844 Logan Street,
Okay.
and it's inside Millennium Dance Complex.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so I sublet space from them. Um, Best way to reach would it could be the website. It'll have all that information of um, how to contact me and all that kind of stuff. So the website is spartanmartialarts.net instead of .com.
.net.
Um,
SpartanMartialArts.net. Make sure y'all putting .net in there. Into that.
right, yeah, it's .net.
Mhm. Awesome.
And then yeah, and then but the phone number just so then everyone has it. It is 615-437-3771.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I appreciate you so much taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy guy as well. We just wanted to kind of shed some light on your business and, thank you for sharing your courageous story about how, life had one curveball and you took it and made something great out of it. And I'm proud of you. I can't wait to see where you go with your business. And you guys give him a like, give his Facebook page a like. He also has a Facebook page, Spartan Martial Arts, and this is in Nashville. And definitely worth to look at the website, get some more information, pricing. They can contact you for pricing, classes, and hours on there as well. All right. Well, thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate your time. And guys, stay tuned for our next episode of Unstoppable. We'll be releasing soon. If you haven't followed us, be sure to do so on Facebook under Unstoppable or all the platforms for podcasts, but especially our YouTube channel, Unstoppable, as well. You guys have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you.